ancient Greece deeply influenced our modern society. In fact, great ideas such as the concept of democracy were born during that time. Let's step back and try to understand the identity of this great culture, starting from its beginning. Around 1200 BCE, the Dorians, an Indo-European group, took possession of the Peloponnesus by invading territories already taken by the Mycenaeans, also called Achaeans, a highly developed society that even had their own writing system, Linear P. Those who lived in these territories were forced to move somewhere else, and they settled on the coasts of Asia Minor. From this point on, the so-called Greek Dark Age began, a period of economic and cultural decadence that lasted about 400 years. Around 800 BCE, all this different group of people started to coexist, and a flourishing economic and cultural development began. From the mixture of these and other groups, the ancient Greek civilization emerged step by step. Between the 8th and the 6th century BCE, Greeks started to colonize bigger territories of the Mediterranean, including Sicily and southern Italy, which would be called Magna Graecia, or Big Greece. The Greek world was divided into autonomous and independent city-states called poleis. Sparta and Athens were the most powerful. At the beginning, the poleis were ruled by an oligarchy, a government of few with a king on top. Later, the democracy system appeared. The democracy system is a government of the people, which is still at the base of our modern society. The poleis were very different from each other, and they were often fighting. We know through the history of the Peloponnesian War by the Athenian general and historian Thucydides that Sparta and Athens fought very violent wars from 460 to 446 BCE and from 431 to 404 BCE. However, through the historian Herodotus, we know that Sparta and Athens stood together and won the Persian Wars, which lasted from about 499 to 449 BCE. Even though all the poleis were very different from each other, they shared the same language and the cult of the same gods. According to the beliefs of that time, all the Greek gods were living on the top of Mount Olympus in North Greece, and temples and festivals were dedicated to them. The 6th century BCE is the beginning of the so-called Greek classical period, when the Greek culture and thought reached its peak. This period lasted until the end of the 4th century BCE, and it was during this time that philosophy was born. The word philosophy comes from the Greek language, and it means love for knowledge. In this context, knowledge is not meant to be just a collection of information, but rather what makes a human wise. Many schools of thoughts were born from the Greek civilization, such as those of Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and others. Greeks observed nature to understand the rules of the world, and in doing so, they had many intuitions that led to many innovations. For instance, one of the many discoveries made by the great Archimedes of Syracuse is the so-called Archimedes principle. Archimedes was asked to determine whether the king's crown was fully made of gold without damaging it. So he could not melt it to calculate its density. In this context, Archimedes noticed while taking a bath that the level of the water in the tub rose as he got in, and realized that this effect could be used to determine the crown's volume. According to the legend, Archimedes was so excited by his discovery that he ran naked through the streets, yelling, "Eureka! I found it!" Greeks also had an answer for what science couldn't yet explain. In fact, they were the creators of myth, narratives of heroes, gods, or semi-gods deeds, through which man's great questions were answered. Many myths have survived to this day, such as the one in the Iliad and the Odyssey, where myth, legend, history, and mystery are intertwined. Democracy was another great invention made by the Greeks. It was born in Athens, and the word, coming from the Greek language, means power of the people. Due to the crisis caused by continuous wars, citizens actively demanded more control and power over public investments. It is possible that the Greek victory against the Persians was what started the desire for democracy, since everyone, rich and poor, contributed to the victory. The first popular assembly was held on the top of Pnyx Hill, in the center of Athens, where male citizens met once a month to discuss politics. Ancient Greek democracy was a direct government system, in which citizens directly participated in the popular assembly. Orators were skilled in the art of rhetoric, or the art of speaking. However, they often fell into demagogy, a political attitude aimed at obtaining support from ordinary people by exciting their emotions rather than by having good or morally right ideas. This was the beginning of political corruption, against which stratagems were invented, such as the kleroterion, that was a device used to select citizens for most state offices in a completely random way. In ancient Greece, everyone wanted the same rights and opportunities. In fact, only the highest military services and similar positions were taken by expert noble people. To become a part of politics, being a good warrior was necessary for the Greeks. The cult of the body was highly valued in Greek society, as evidenced by the many sculptures that have survived to this day. Sports and physical activities were also taught in schools at that time, since a good physical shape was useful both in battle and in sporting competitions, which guaranteed money and a good career. Sports competition was one of the things that brought unity throughout ancient Greece. In fact, the Greeks organized athletic games every 4 years. These games took place in the city of Olympia, and they were, and still are, the Olympic Games. All poleis were required to participate, even those at war with each other, due to the so-called Olympic truce. Art played a crucial role in the social and emotional development of ancient Greeks. Theater, in particular, was one of the most appreciated artistic expressions of the time. Many theaters built by the Greeks have survived to this day, such as the ones in Syracuse, Taormina, Athens, and many others. According to Aristotle, theater purifies our souls as it stages life and its trouble. Initially, the only form of theater was tragedy, but later comedy appeared. Up to 3 actors performed during the scenes, and they usually wore masks to play different characters. Important Greek authors were Sophocles, Aeschylus, and Euripides, whose masterpieces such as Ajax, Prometheus, Agamemnon, and Medea have survived to this day. In the 4th century BCE, Alexander the Great, king of Macedonia, appeared on the scene. He conquered many territories by creating an empire whose borders reached as far as India, introducing Greek language and culture everywhere. This process of cultural assimilation, through which non-Greek groups adopted characteristics of Greek culture, such as language and religion, is called Hellenization. The ancient Romans followed in the footsteps of Alexander the Great by assimilating Greek culture and creating their own empire. The birth and the growth of the Romans, along with the death of young Alexander, which marked the start of the so-called Hellenistic period, caused the end of the Greek civilization. In fact, due to continuous inner wars, Greeks became weaker and unable to stand against the Romans, whose strength was growing and growing. 31 BCE conventionally marks the end of this great civilization, whose legacy is still vivid in our modern society.